even though it's 2:30 on my end. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. It's been some time since I've been back on this thing. I have a million excuses of why I have not been on this thing, but do any of them matter? No, I'm here now. So here we go. Um, man, I have chock loads of information I could be throwing your way, but where to begin, I don't even know. It's been a ride. It's been a ride through the whole mess of quarantine, which ironically, I mean, from my experience, has not been messy in the slightest. It's been very calm and soothing and natural. If anything, I have really enjoyed being in a quarantine space, bro. Um, been in the process of doing a life coaching course, so I've had time to really drill down and nail down all that information, um, to do to be really great at what it is that I want to do, which is life coaching, which will lead me to greater things and greater dreams and greater intentions that I wish to fulfill. So, yeah, I'm excited about that, man. Mad amounts of lessons and learnings along the way. Would you like to hear one? Listen, alright? They're not just kind of packed in boxes for me to just chuck at you and as you so desire them to come out. They come out as they need to in moments that beckon them. So, yeah, here I am. I'm back. I'm doing my thing. Um, yeah, my focus is all around. And yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to articulate some ideas, get some buzz flowing, um, maybe ground some information, maybe have a bit of a play, maybe have a bit of a song and a bit of a dance. Not that I can dance much. That's a belief. I can change that belief to I can dance, and all of a sudden I can dance. Isn't that isn't that unrealistic? Yes. But not entirely, because if I believe that I can dance, then I'm going to keep dancing, and the more I dance, the better I get, so inevitably it will become a thing. You know what I'm saying? So, positive attitude, folks. Throw in that optimism wherever you can. Channel that negativity and turn it into a positivity. And once you got the positivity, I'm positive that you will possibly achieve what it is you want to be positive about. So, yeah. Um, what's the direction? What's the direction of the sun? Here comes the sun. Do 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 do. So I'm exploring a particular idea at the moment of reframing stories using your overlay. And what I mean by overlay is your kind of veil that you put over an experience to kind of derive a specific meaning from it. By being able to alter that consciously, you can change what you gain from it and how, to what degree you move towards it and to what degree you run away. So by understanding that you can do that with any experience allows you more control over the direction that you go in your life. For example, there may be something that you want, but your perception of it is preventing you from actually getting it. So if there's a reason that, if you notice that there's something that you want in your life and you're not quite being attracted towards it and you'll find yourself kind of in the same repetitive states of being, that's an indicator that there is a story that is being told by you to yourself that is preventing you from actualizing that idea that you have in your mind. Propel and attract, baby. Negative and a positive. See, the things that you tell yourself sit in the subconscious, eventually sinks into the subconscious, which then becomes a way for your brain to actively seek out and confirm the story that it has been told and keeps repeating to itself. As it repeats the story, it will try and confirm it through the external reality by trying to perceive things in a specific way, by even altering what is actually going on in order to fit the narrative that you were telling yourself. So by realizing that there was initially a story that you heard or that you told yourself that you repeated so much that it just became it became your natural kind of compass, in a sense. See, the mind is not biased. It's not against if it's negative or if it's positive or it's this, it's that. Whatever it hears, it ingrains into the system. It's the programming. So realizing that there was the initial system put in, that was placed in, it's an indicator that, okay, maybe I can do something different. Maybe I can bring something else in there. Bring on the mantras and affirmations, baby. Of course, this is not enough alone by itself. Actions need to be taken as well. I mean, if you take an action as well, then it ingrains it at a quicker rate. Love it. So as we ingrain the new information, the brain then naturally begins to seek a way to confirm what it believes in the external world. So anything that matches up to the story will be drawn towards. For example, if you were to tell yourself, I am abundant, I am financially thriving, I see the benefit of money as something that can fuel my mission and help me help others. If you can align it to the things that are important to you and that you value, while also being aware of the things that prevent you from believing that, then you will naturally, almost organically, find yourself in situations that open up opportunities for you to be able to live that truth. That's manifesting. It's actually a lot more scientific than most would care to explore. Because it's not necessarily a case of, oh Lord, won't you buy me a stack of money? Send it to my house and I will be happy. It's not how it works. The brain is tuned in. The brain is it's an operating system that's focused on, it's got a mission. It's like a soldier with a mission. And when it knows its mission, when it knows the story that it's being implemented with and the reasons why it's doing what it's doing, then it will engage and move in there, either seeking reward or running away from an enemy. An enemy maybe even being something like money. A lot of people have a lot of bias around money, including myself, which I've spent a lot of time uncovering to reevaluate, to again, as you might have noticed, the belief that I did carry about money. in terms that it can help me nourish my own understanding and my own wisdom so that I can have more to offer. Because with more money allows for me to expand myself to a broader range of people and invest my time into something greater than myself, to greater knowledge, to greater just characters, I suppose. Just broaden my horizons, in other words. And by doing that, then I can receive more, which means that I can give more. You have to learn to receive. People are always like, I can't receive. No, that's bias. It's not true at all. That's a story. It is true that it is common for a lot of people to want to give more than receive. Again, that's also not true, because there's also people on the vice versa, that want to take more than they give. But there needs to be a balance, because again, this is kind of the good bad mentality, that there's something bad and there's something good, and I need to stay on the good so that I'm not bad. And it's very easy for people to say that what other people perceive as bad is actually good, because like, if I'm giving to everyone all the time, what do I have for me? I can't give to anyone else. I need to give it to me. And then it's like, oh no, but you need to share. It's about love and community. And it's like, well, yeah, both have a very interesting part to play in the game, which points to the idea that there is no real good and bad. There is imbalance and disalignment if something is done to excess without consideration of the other end of the spectrum, because you need the whole spectrum to be included. It's about wholeness, not perfection. With that in mind as well, something I mention a lot is that something cannot exist without its opposite. You need the whole of everything. So by balancing things out, we can come into alignment. And what Dr. John Demartini actually talks about is becoming enlightened by taking on the light and the dark within ourselves and uniting it so that we can, I suppose. He gets this idea from the idea that, well, the fact, I suppose, I don't know this is a gap in my knowledge here, but he mentions that by combining matter and antimatter, I know what matter is, I don't know what antimatter is. Should probably check that up. But by combining it together, it actually creates light, like literal, actual light. So he theorizes, he speculates, I don't know kind of where he's at with this information. This was a kind of an old interview that I heard this was an old interview that was done like a few years ago that I heard recently. But he was saying that if you could take that same understanding and put it within a person and unite their light aspects with their dark aspects, their good and their bad, their negative, their positive, their love and hate, and unite that within themselves, it can create enlightenment. So yeah, I have always been intrigued by that. I love the idea of shadow work. I love the experience of shadow work. It's been incredibly therapeutic for me in terms of developing greater compassion for humanity as a whole. Because as I begin to notice the things in other people that I resist and come to accept the possibility that they exist within myself, and I find areas in my life where they have shown up, I then open myself up to greater connection with other people and the world around me, because I realize I can have empathy and consideration for the fact that I am just them, but on a different path. Abraham Lincoln said once, "Do not criticize others as you would respond the same way if we found ourselves in a similar circumstance." Yeah, do not criticize others, for we would respond the same way if we found ourselves in a similar circumstance. Kind of altered that quote a little bit, but that's the essence of what he was saying, which I think is so true. And then to throw my own quote in there that I've been quoting myself on, just because it's a great story that I like to tell myself, because it, again, puts me into that kind of state of mind of just acceptance and openness, and actually curiosity and consideration, and wanting to understand someone who I wouldn't necessarily agree with initially. That quote being, "My judgment implies a lack of understanding, for if I understood, I would not judge." I judge only because I don't know the whole story. If I did know the whole story, I wouldn't judge, because I'd see. There's always a cause and effect. There's always a reasoning. I don't believe that people just come out of nothing and just decide, screw it. There's a build up to there. There's a build up of resentment, of a history, of an experience that caused a belief system to arise, a way of thinking and a way of operating, and that operating system allows them to behave in a certain way that isn't socially acceptable, which I'm not justifying, should be a way to respond, but I think it's important to have greater consideration and compassion towards the fact that we are just observers of what is ingrained within us. We are just observers of the cause and effect. The cause being what's put in, and the effect of the consequence of what is put in. And there's also just a lack of understanding and awareness around the fact that what we allow into ourselves and into our systems creates the impact of how we respond in our own reality and what we create for ourselves. There's really a minimal, well, not necessarily, but it's just not something that's prioritized as an understanding in our universe, which it should be, because it is a case that we are creators of our own reality, but it's easy to kind of sway away from something like that when it's not elaborated upon with aspects. And to be honest, there's a lot of belief systems that wouldn't align to that, so it's hard for them to accept something like that. I definitely did for a long time. I believed it, and then I found that I didn't understand why I believed it, and then I found some factual evidence behind how this kind of thing would work, which I really needed. I needed real foundations to work upon, because it's very easy to take on a belief without any foundation and find yourself being swayed and kind of manipulated by your own beliefs. So I need, for me personally, knowing. So this is where neuroscience has come in for me, to be able to understand how the brain functions, and by understanding how it functions, I can see how it affects the whole system, and by seeing how the whole system functions, I can then see how I behave and what I do and how that correlates to the external world that I have. So everything I have is just a consequence of how I think, feel, and behave. So in that sense, it's like as above, so below. As is out, so is in. So everything that's happening around me is reflecting what is going on inside of me. So it makes it a great map to be able to understand what is going on within me by observing my surroundings and how I perceive my surroundings and what I've created for myself and what's the environment I put myself in on a regular basis. that has something to teach me in terms of how much I am aligning to my deepest underlying value and desire, I suppose. Now, if I'm talking about values, values is an interesting realm, because I'm still not 100% certain of where values arise from. But when I'm talking about values, is the things that you most prioritize, the things that are of most important to you in your life, the things that you, without, cause you to fall into depressive states and unfulfillment and resentment towards life. These are things that you need in your life personally, and for everyone it looks different. It's not the same thing for everyone, and they evolve and they change over time. So these are things you need, things that are of most importance to you. They drive you. And it's the same in a way that if you see those values aren't showing up in your environment, or you see other people aren't honoring the same values, or they don't value the same thing that you do, that causes a lot of resistance for you towards them. So it's a good indicator of what you value, by seeing what you don't like in other people, or you don't like what they honor or what they do on a daily basis. Maybe someone I don't know, eats bagels on a regular basis, and you value health. So you'll be frustrated with them because they're not valuing health in the same way that you do. Resistance, so maybe that's a value for you. Same with like compassion. If you see someone's isn't very considerate of other people and is mainly focusing on themselves, and that angers you, that's a sign that compassion is important to you. It's a value. But then you have larger values. There's values in every area. There's values in work. You know, maybe work is a more value of yours in life. Maybe work is really important to you. Family, friends. These are all necessary aspects of life, though, of course. But what values do you initiate into them? So yeah, this I'm kind of depthening as I go, because it's so fundamental, but it's weirdly kind of vague in a way as well, because it's different in all these different areas. Like, different values for me show up more so in certain aspects of my life. Like, my family would see certain values more than like my work would see like other values. And then again, now I'm considering if the same values should always turn up in the same place. Well, in every place. I think maybe they should, but how they're prioritized is a bit different. For example, I guess kind of my work, like, yeah, I don't know. I guess the kind of layout of it would be different. I wonder if the things that you value are things that you are trying to integrate more. So to kind of catch you up on like my whole picture of this is that Demartini talks about how your values come from voids. So if you have grown up with something that hasn't shown up enough in your life, they can become your values. For example, if you had, I don't know, if you grew up with parents who were very dishonest, honesty would become a huge value of yours because it didn't show up. But then again, I feel like this is also relative as well, because at the same time, my thought is, your parents were dishonest, so it might teach you that, okay, maybe you need to be dishonest. But I don't know if that's always true. Maybe that's where the whole kind of rebellion stage come from. It's like your parents tell you to do one thing and you want to do it the other way. I don't know. Values are interesting. Kind of an interesting phenomena. Yeah, I'm reading a book by him, again, Dr. John Demartini, called The Values Factor. I'm not all the way through it. I'm only some way through it, so I'd like to explore that more to really get some clarity on it. I've been listening to a lot of his stuff. Fascinating, man. Highly recommend anyone to go check him out and see what he has to say. He's an expert in human behavioral psychology, just human behavior in general, and yeah, just a lot of wisdom there as a whole, which I'm still trying to kind of affix into my understanding of things, apparently, because there's a bit of gaps in my knowledge around some seeking, so that's fine, Listen, one step at a time, no need to rush. So yeah, that's a big part of what I've been learning. Speaking of that, I've been really integrating acceptance into my life. I actually did a video on this before the last video I put up, which is about my journey of, I don't want to say overcoming anxiety, integrating anxiety. Yeah, that's it. Integrating anxiety into who I am as an individual and realizing that is just a part of being a human being. And by understanding that, I am now more confident about the anxiety as a tool for greater understanding and awareness about things that I struggle to deal with in life. So that as an indicator allows me to be like, okay, I feel weird. Why is that? What is that? Why is that causing me to feel that way? What is it about that specifically? What values are engaged in that maybe I'm not seeing that's causing me discomfort? What values am I not showing up with that I feel that maybe I should be showing up with? Does that mean I have expectations of myself, of how I should be in this particular situation? How do I feel I need to be in this particular situation? And if I'm anxious about the fact that I'm not, why am I not? Does that mean maybe I don't want to be like that? If I do want to be like that, who do I want to do that for? For me or them? Is it to make me feel good? Is it to make them feel good about me? Do I need them to feel good about me in order for me to feel good about me? Am I using them as a tool to feel good about me? The fact that I might be doing that indicates that I'm not honoring me as I am. It means that I'm seeing that there's something wrong with me. So the real reason that I think that there's something wrong with me is because I think there is. Because I'm assuming that people need to see me in a certain way. I'm assuming that other people are seeing something wrong with me, so it makes me feel like there's something wrong with me. Is there something wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with me, bro. I'm totally good. I'm totally good. It's totally a thought. It's a thought. I'm not good enough. For who? For those people. How do you know? Because their mannerisms? Okay. But then, like, the mannerisms change for you for a moment. The mannerisms change for you for a moment, and then what? Then you feel happy, yeah, for sure. Okay, and then what? They're gonna change back to how they were before, and then you're gonna feel, Yeah, no, they need to stay the same. They need to constantly be happy with me for me to be happy. Not very helpful. Do we want to stick with that way of thinking? Nah. Okay, cool. So we'll change it. What's the new belief? I am beyond. I'm beyond good enough. Beyond even the concept of good enough. I am of immense value to not only myself, but also to others as well. I am. I know it. I'm beyond all the judgment. If I'm judging myself, it just means that I don't understand the full story. But now that I understand the story, there's less judgment on me because I get that it's just a way that I'm thinking. So now that I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, I have compassion for you. I understand. It's fine. You can change. You can change. Neuroplasticity. Let's talk about that a little bit. Neuroplasticity. How do we change who we are as people? It's very much a spiritual approach to this, which works for a lot of people because, I mean, if it is focused in, the affirmations and the meditations and the rituals of constantly trying to integrate and visualize this new idea of who you are, totally works. On a scientific level, which I just prefer because, again, it's grounded, is that you create neural connections. You have neural connections. They're like muscles that are built. And the more you think of a certain thought, that connection is made. That muscle is built. The muscle of, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. So that just becomes a natural way of thinking, right? So now it's a hard thing to break because it's like, oh, it's so strong and it's so subconsciously ongoing that it's like, I can't get rid of it. That it's almost like your own mind is torturing you with this thought. It's just doing its job, man. That's all it's doing. Don't worry about it. But now what can happen is that people become aware of that, and then it's like, I do this all the time. Oh, I'm always judging myself. I always do this all the time. It's like, okay, how do I get rid of it? You want to get rid of it. There's a subtlety in this. Kind of, but not really. In that you wanting to get rid of it is adding to it because you're focusing on that muscle. It's like, I need to get rid of this muscle. How do I get rid of it? If this is a muscle, how do you get rid of it? How do you loosen the muscle so that it's not as tough and it's not continuing? Yeah, you stop. But it's not enough to stop. Energy is always kind of in motion. You need to refocus. You need to realign. So if you have that connection, the best thing to do is create a new connection. Right? Preferably one that opposes that old belief that doesn't serve you. One that's still based in truth. It needs to be factual in some sort of way. And if you don't have any facts to prove that, make them. Do something. Just do something that contradicts that belief, and then you have evidence, and you're like, oh, I can do that, I can change. So then that means you can then continue this. But really look, though, I'm sure you'll have evidence of whatever you're looking for in yourself, because every aspect of every trait of a human being exists within your DNA, and you've more than likely exemplified it at some point in your life before. So think about that as your evidence. Use that as your success bank to refer back to keep strengthening that thought so that it becomes just as strong as the old one. So that anytime you find yourself coming back to this one, you can be like, oh, wait, yeah, but there's this one. There's the better one. There's the one that serves me. So then you bring that, and then eventually the old connection just fades away from lack of use. And now you got your new muscle, your natural way of thinking. Your new subconscious mind is, I'm the best. I'm not the best, but I'm beyond great. I am of immense value. I love my uniqueness. I am comfortable within myself. I love what I am. I love exploring what I am. Who I think I am is not related to how other people perceive me. Who I think I am is just a thought. How I feel within myself has nothing to do with anyone else around me. How I feel within myself has nothing to do with anyone else around me. I find the peace within me. And through that, I allow other people to find that within themselves. I have nothing to give. They have nothing to give me. We just share a good time. It's easier to do that as well from a comfortable space of just, I trust me. I trust me. The benefits of trusting yourself. There's another one that's headed into my values over the coming months. Is just trust. Trust in myself, trusting that I know that what I want, and knowing that I will do anything to align to that. I'm already doing it, bro. I'm already doing it. The fact that I'm just talking about what I'm talking about is a sign that I'm on the mission to greater understanding and greater self-awareness and greater knowledge of how we function as human beings, so that I can relay that to the rest of the world, so that I can help engage the world in turning this planet into a disco ball. Oh, yeah. Alan Watts quote, "Why take seriously what the gods made for fun?" Yeah, that's totally it, man. I'm in love with that idea. That, when we get to such a point of just trust within ourselves, that we can trust other people and that we can just share so effortlessly. Taking out all the middlemans of all these businesses and companies and these frames of transaction, because we don't trust each other. We're terrified of like the ifs and buts, and we have to really fend for ourselves and look after ourselves because we can't trust anyone else to help us with that. So it's all up to us. So yeah, we build all these kind of middlemen to kind of help us with our tradings and sharings and interactions. My idea is that, and if you've ever been to a festival, you'll totally get this, is that there's just a trust, there's just a sharing, there's just a knowing that people are there for you. You're willing to just give up everything and just be with each other. And by doing that, you create together, and then you support each other. And then interactions is just sharing. It's always sharing. It's not buying and purchasing and selling. It's sharing. Which then means we don't have to waste all our energy working. We can just play. Why take serious what the gods made for fun? Love it. Love it! So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. That's what I have to say about that. I love allowing things to just unfold. Sometimes there's a desire to kind of push things forward to make it happen. That only comes from a fear that it might not happen. It comes from a space of lack and trust. Why wouldn't I trust myself? To know undoubtedly that you are experiencing exactly what you need to experience, very freeing. These are the lessons that will support you in being who you're meant to be. Obstacles do not prevent you from achieving your goal. They are there to prepare you for who you need to be. Obstacles are not there to prevent you from where you need to be. They are there to prepare you for who you need to be in order to actualize the dreams. Everything's there to serve you. Everything is there to serve you. Because it's reflecting you. It is just how it is. It's how it's meant to be. And it will be how it's meant to be. Whether you see it as that or not. But it will be how it is in order to help you see what it is you haven't noticed going on within you. Your world reflects what's going on within you. Your world reflects what's going on within you. Because it's vice versa. It's interchangeable. It's the same thing. Maybe your beliefs are kind of like the doors that you open and close, or the pathways that you either keep clean or allow to get cluttered and prevent you from moving forward. Again, it's not preventing you, it's just preparing you. You need a clean road in order to get where you need to go. It's preparing you, okay, you got to get cleaning. Are you ready to clean? Are you willing to clean? Because that person that you want to be, or that place that you want to be, requires a person who's willing to clean up their road to get where they want to be. That destination requires that person. Are you willing to be that person? And if you are, then get to it. Be it now. And you'll find yourself there. Who you are dictates where you are. Who you are dictates where you are. Yeah! Yeah! Who you are dictates where you are. I think so. Seems to be the case. Who you are dictates where you are. Well, who you think you are? That's another question. But yeah, like I'd never see like a hippie and working for Wall Street. Nor would I see a Wall Street guy, you know, chilling in a commune. Unless it got to a point where he just couldn't align with the in the space. So yeah. But talking about who you are, I think it's definitely a Dinworth. Chasing. Well, not chasing, but unfolding. And you unfold that by continuing to see what's truest within you. And usually what tends to be the truest things within you are the values. Oh yeah, sorry, so the beliefs are the pathways and the doors that are open and closed, while the values are the kind of drivers. They're the kind of thing that ignite. Yeah, love that. You know, like the kind of that motive, that kind of the emotion. The belief is the thought. The value is the heart. No, that's not necessary. Value, if I value communication, no, that'll be heart. Anyway, there's a whole system to engage, people. A whole universal system. I feel as though I'm slowing down lately, but I feel like I'm being more concise with how I'm describing and expressing, which I like. I want to be clear. I'm less chaotic. But I still like to have fun. It's organized fun. It's Organized. Fun. Organized? Fun. I like fun. What's with the organized? Organized doesn't have to be tension filled at all. So why is it? For me, why is there tension in the organizing? Oh, it's just like when I think of organizing, I think of like a teacher with like a ruler who's like, okay, proper South African teacher is like, come on, it's time to go clean the cupboard. Come on, what are you doing? Yeah, it's just like, ugh, take a break, have some fun. So, yeah, I like. Okay, so what's the benefits of organizing? Let's have a look at this. Let's explore it. What's the benefits of organizing? Keeps things tidy, kinda in tune. It clears the road. Keeps it less dirty, so you can move it. So you can move along clearly with ease. You can just brisk. So organizing actually has a brisky feeling because it's like it clears the way. If you didn't organize, then you'd have that's the actual that's the effort. The not always organizing is the effort because then you gotta like climb over everything and you're just gonna be like, oh gosh. But if you organize, then you could just skip along, play through, na 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 na. Again, your external influences it indicates your internal. So if it's messy outside, it's messy inside, bruh. So get cleaning, bruh. So that's the one joy of organizing. Who's someone I think is awesome who maintains organization? Tony Robbins seems organized as flip. And look how impactful he is. Look what he does. And look how much fun he seems to be having as well. He's just going for it, man. He's having his time. And you got to be crazy organized for that. Then again, he probably also has a good team to help him. So what's a better image of organization? I would say definitely that one. Let's think Gary Vee as well. Like he's running a crazy good business. He's keeping things going. He's in a top game, and he's got to be mad organized for that. And he's just full of energy, full of life. Organize. Listen, if your organs weren't in order, that'd be problematic. So good thing your organs are placed exactly where they are, because otherwise there'd be trouble. Imagine your gut was in your head. To be able to process food, it'd be going up and then down. It's like the energy is just crazy. The use of energy would just be excessive. Because it's down here, gravity can just do its work. Whew, thank goodness for that. So, organize. Organize? Organize. Now I'm thinking of like a church piano made of eyes. I, 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 I. I do. Yeah. Cool. Love it. Well, that's another podcast of me just gibbering and jabbering for myself, for my own enjoyment, for my own clarification of how to. I don't know. Just improving. I like this. This is good for me. Whether any of these become useful to anyone, maybe they will in the future because I'm able to practice more with all this, that I'm now better in the future. So because of these, I am great even if no one sees these. So these are of great benefit to me as an individual. So thank you, me. You're welcome, buddy. Anyway, cheers everybody. Appreciate it. Have a good one.